What's up, guys? It is the 23rd of May, and tonight I'm going to go ahead and drop the OneROM Alpha firmware, including the Datalog patch built into it. And first off, I just wanted to thank everyone for commenting on the last video. I highly appreciate that. There was some great advice given, some good feedback, and yeah, so one thing I want to do with you guys, moving on forward is I want to be very transparent throughout the project and how I feel. So definitely wasn't calling it quits on the OneROM firmware, but there was some frustration felt, and giving it some further consideration. I say bring the copycats on. We gotta help these people build their devices because they can't do it on their own. They depend on someone else generating the firmware and putting the stuff out there so they can make the hardware work and do what they want. So as much as I don't like that, someone has to do it. So moving forward with the OneROM Alpha project, let's go ahead and jump into the resistor network that we're going to be talking about if you want to do some data logging. So I have some PCB adapters. I'll toss those in the description, maybe throw some images in here, but I've really simplified it. My last PCB adapter for data logging was pretty overkill for what this project actually entails. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it with just a couple resistors. So I have 3 resistors here in this example. They're linked together. And these are all the same value. So I know most of you guys out there, you don't have a whole bunch of resistors. If you have one size resistor, you can use 3 of them to create a chain like this. And essentially what we're going to do is fold one of these down. So we're going to have 3 ends. We're going to have essentially like a T going on here. I'm going to have an open end from one resistor down here, an open end from another resistor over here, and then between resistors 1 and 2, we have this little T coming off of it. So this is our T point, our tap point. This is a basic voltage divider circuit. So we're going to need to put a ground wire on this end. This end is going to go to pin 4 on the ECU, which is our TX terminal. That's where it's outputting 5 volts. And then this little guy right here between 1 and 2 is going to be our tap point. So it's going to take the 5 volt signal in right here from the ECU, the TX signal. It's going to hit this little network right here. It's going to come out, and this is going to be our 3.3 volt logic side. So ground to ECU pin 1, or you can hook it up to the OneROM itself on the ground pin. Another wire is going to go on this other resistor end here. That's going to go to the pin 4 on the ECU. And then this first junction point is going to be what we need to plug into our OneROM. Like so. ECU pin 4, ECU pin 1, this middle tap wire is going to be going to the OneROM. Okay, so the first connection is going to be the TX from the OneROM. So it's the very top right pin. And that's going to hook up to pin 2. Sorry, the lighting's kind of crappy here, but you can see it's connected into pin number 2. The next thing we're going to do is take our divider network that I just showed you. So one side's going to have the 2 resistors on it. That's going to be the one that's going out to your ground, which is pin 1 in the ECU. The single wire coming off the other resistor at the end is going to be the one going to TX, which is pin 4. And that's TX from the ECU side. All right, and then our wire that's left at our tapping point is going to be the one that hooks up to the RX pin of OneROM. Just like that. So just to recap, the 2 resistors in series with nothing connected between them is going to be the ground, so that goes to pin 1. This middle tapping connection right here is going to go to the RX pin on your OneROM, and then the 1 single resistor coming off the end after that tap is going to be going to the ECU header at pin number 4. This is the backdoor method of doing this. Now, if you guys are going to run something like this, you need to make sure that you make your connections nice and solid. Make sure you tape this up, insulate it, something. You do not want this shorting out against anything metal, the ECU case, the floor. That's all bad news for this deal here. So you're going to go ahead and plug your OneROM into the PC with the single USB cable. You're going to look here in your device manager, and you're going to find the COM ports that pop up. In this case, it's 14 and 15 are my new COM ports. So in HTS, I'm going to go to our settings and make sure I got my emulator and my data log set for 14 and 15, just like so. I'm going to go over here to emulator, connect, data log, connect. There it is. So you guys now have emulator and data log in one on one USB cable. Pretty simple. And this is doing it without a special adapter. This is just using 3 resistors. And again, it doesn't really matter what value the resistors are as long as they're all the same. So if all you guys have is like a 10K or 12Ks, 51Ks, 400 ohms, it doesn't matter as long as they're all 3 the same value. The method I just showed you works exactly the same. You can use 3 resistors if all of them are the same value. Essentially, the formula is R1 over R2, and R1 should always be half the value of R2. And in essence, what we've done is we've created a network here where I am using a 10K resistor on the top and we're using 20K on the bottom. But because I only have 10K resistors here on hand, I have 2 10K resistors in series, which forms that 20K. So 10K, 20K. That's why there's the tapping point that comes off between one resistor to get us the value we want, because that's where our top and bottom resistors in theory are actually meeting. Because the bottom 2 resistors, number resistor 2 and resistor 3, are in a series to form a value that is twice the size of the top resistor. So in essence, do like I showed you. If you have one resistor value on hand, you can use it and you can create this divider. If not, check the link below. I should have some PCBs in there that you guys can go ahead and order off JLC PCB, and you guys can just plug something in after you guys put a couple resistors on the board.